Good morning everyone, back again for another brief video clip today, and what I'm looking at is something slightly different to what I have been doing. Still on the theme of comb sections, but rather than the round ones that I've been focusing on, I decided to have a look at square comb sections. Now what I have here in front of me is a container for square cut comb, and I decided that the packaging there would be ideal for this. Square comb sections. Okay, it's nothing new. Most of you have seen this sort of thing before, but what I've done is I've come up with my own design for a couple of the components of this whole setup. And first of all, the frame. This frame is not a standard frame, it's actually adjustable. And if I get down to this corner and have a look, as you can see on this near corner here, I have a T-nut in place, and right through the center of the end bar I have some threaded rod, and up on the other end here I have a wing nut. And it's pretty obvious what's going to happen if I just loosen this off. You can see that in this area here already these frames are starting to loosen up. The end bars actually slide out of the way and you can see the threaded rod. That gives me cramping in this direction. Now these end bars, they're slotted and they have a little bit of high density foam on the ends that allows me to push them in place and cramp up on these frames. Obviously both ends are the same. If I loosen this end off a little bit, that end bar comes off as well, and of course the whole thing now will come apart quite easily. Really good when it comes to harvest time. Now when it comes to the frames for the comb honey, it's nothing overly complex or difficult. You can see they're just butt jointed pieces of pine, about 4 millimeters in thickness, about 30 millimeters wide. I'm going to play with various sizes on that, and you can see that everything is held in place with one staple on each corner. Okay, very simple design. I've come up with a jig for assembling those little boxes, and then of course to put the foundation in place. Well, there's a piece of the cut foundation that I make myself. It's very thin, as you can see. What I do is I cut the foundation out of larger sheets with this cutter that I've made at home. It's just of the right size, it saves a lot of mucking around. And if I grab one of these little boxes over here, as you can see, I've got a couple of plugs. What happens is a box sits in place, the foundation is placed over the top, pushed into location, and then of course some molten wax is just used to hold the foundation in place, and the job is done. It works very well. The bees don't mind it. They draw the foundation out really quickly, especially as it's homemade foundation. And of course, most people will be saying, well, what about the results? Well, if I come over in this direction, here's the result of my first small harvest. That's 6 out of the 8 combs that I took out. I've given a couple away. You can see that I've vacuum sealed them, and they've been in a freezer now for a couple of days, just in case there's a problem with wax moth. There shouldn't be, because these particular comb sections only took 28 days from start to finish, and as you can see, it's worked quite well, and every one of them is fully capped. So this whole idea looks as though it's going to work quite well. I've got another variation that I'm just about to experiment with on this same theme, and I'm going to try and go foundationless, but I just need to do a little bit more testing and put a couple of these boxes into a hive just to see how it's going to work. If it does work out, which I know it will, I'll come back to you and I'll show you exactly what I've done, because it looks as though this method that I've come up with is going to work quite well. Anyway, that's about it for today. I'm quite pleased with what I've got here. Hopefully it gives you guys a little bit of inspiration to get out there and start experimenting. So until next time, guys, it's cheers for now.